Oh, we're live.
Oh,
All right.
well, guys, welcome to this very, very special live segment of Correctional Commentary. As always, I am Caleb, along with the great and wonderful Robby.
How's it going? So we were finally able to come together.
Yeah. Woo! It's about time. It's been a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that our first live we were together. And let's hope everybody can hear us okay.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make our first live something important, and I don't think there's anything more important than what's going on in New York right now.
Yeah, it's a horrible situation, guys. For those that do not know, the correctional officers for the New York State Penitentiary System have began striking.
Yeah, I think that's something that has needed to happen for a long time. It's something that I feel like could benefit happening in more than just there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. See, Robbie, man, I'll be honest with you. I've got mixed emotions about striking. I understand the reason for it due to the poor conditions and lack of pay and stuff, and the unsafe working conditions in general. But
Just think of how many times that people want to get their point across on, and upper administration won't listen.
Yeah, and that's kind of where that mixed emotions comes in for me personally, because it's like, wait a minute, we signed up to do a job, and a hard job at that, one that most people will never be able to do in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard, rough conditions and stuff are kind of somewhat expected, and that's where that's where my mixed emotions come in. That's where I'm very much torn. I don't necessarily 100% agree with the strike. I don't necessarily 100% disagree either.
Yeah, and you see everybody talking about how everybody's harping on, the inmates aren't getting what they need. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they are.
Yeah, they are.
They get. I mean, granted, it's probably the bare necessities of what they need. They're probably locked down 23 and a half hours a day with no rack. I mean, they probably get to get showers.
Yeah,
but you went to prison.
Yeah, there is that, but at the same time is the Eighth Amendment, cites cruel and unusual punishment.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that doesn't apply just to inmates in this particular case. That applies to any human being.
Mm-hmm.
And if these officers feel like they are being treated with cruel and unusual or inhumane punishment, that's the reason why I believe that there is some merit to the strike. That's the reason why I said I don't think that I'm not 100% for it. I'm not 100% against it. There's some merit to both sides, and because the comment that I'm going to bring up, because you were telling me this morning that apparently there was a lock-in. It was the officers that didn't walk out initially. They were stuck there for how many hours? You said? I don't remember.
It was. I want to say it was like 4 days. It was either 3 or 4. 3 or 4 days, so over,
And see, that right there is where I don't necessarily agree with the strike in that way, because the officer that did strike, now you're affecting our brothers.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's where I'm torn. I don't want to affect my brothers that are still there.
Yeah, and granted, we don't know what happened inside.
Right.
We don't know if they were like, hey, you can't leave, or if any of those guys were like, well, you know what? Because me personally, if I was going to leave, I'm going to quit. If at that point.
Yeah.
So, did any of them say, hey, I'm done, I'm leaving?
And at that point, that particular facility just kidnapped, committed the act of kidnapping. That's the law. False imprisonment as well.
For sure. But this is one of those situations to where it's sad that it's come to the point to where administration doesn't listen to their staff, and they have to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm one of the biggest. To me, I'm one of the biggest advocates to peaceful protest. And if an employer can't give, I mean, it's no different than these guys quitting, really.
Yeah, I mean, and my thing is this: civil disobedience has been proven over our history through different events to be effective. The sit-ins of the civil rights movement,
Mhm.
for example, refusing to pay taxes during the colonial American times. It's one of those things.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a strike of the match for
Yeah,
other states.
yes, I do not see this kind of. I think we will see a revolution in corrections as far as the correctional officer side of the entire nation.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember especially back in the what we called them the dog days
Yeah,
of where we were severely short staffed.
yeah,
And we were working 16-hour shifts every day.
we call those the dog days to our viewers out there because they worked us like a dog.
Yeah, so I mean, this is absolutely nothing new as far as job vacancy rate. I mean, I know we've covered several states that are just as bad.
Yeah, if not even worse.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia
would definitely worse.
Prime example, which I mean, granted, it's not. They said 40 out of their 42 facilities are on strike right now.
In New York?
Yeah, New York.
Wow.
Now,
that's
how many of them are on strike? Like how many officers are on strike?
Don't know. But the thing is, as well as I do when it comes to stuff like this, before this strike happened, there were several warnings. There were several, hey, sure. We need you to get your shit right, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. And what happened was, the reason why this strike happened is after those multiple warnings, the administration or whomever was like, nah, whatever, fuck you ain't going to quit, you ain't going to do this, you ain't going to do that. They were very arrogant and pompous about it and completely disregarded the people that they have to run a facility. Mm-hmm. We talked about one episode a while back of the regular podcast, is that you can't run a prison
without pod officers.
You can't run a prison without security, period.
Yeah.
But you can run it without counselors. Yeah, you can run it without doctors.
And I'm interested to see. I think that this is going to bring a whole new light to the world of corrections.
Yes,
and I'm very excited for that.
Me too. Yes.
For one, I mean, it's making national news, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to help fast track their goals for for what they're wanting.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the striking is going to do. I don't know what the striking is going to do for the striking is not going to do anything for staffing.
Well, we do have a development from our producer. She just gave me some information she wants me to read on air really quick to you guys. This is from the SpectrumLocalNews.com. It states apparently the New York State Correctional Officers and Police Benevolent Association, the union that represents the state correctional officers, said it's hard to tell how many officers actually have returned to work. That Benevolent Association, the union, did not authorize the strike. It says retired Captain Michael Knowles, who worked at Gowanda Correctional Facility in Erie County and joined officers in solidarity on Friday, said the memorandum was issued by Martiskello was not enough to promise a safe work environment. They want to be treated like humans. Stop with the double shift. Right now, they want to cram 12-hour shifts down our throats. We're going to make you work 12-hour shifts. They don't want to work. These people have families.
God dang.
12-hour shifts? Really? 12-hour shifts?
Yeah.
Listen, I get the double shifts. I will say that as far as the double shift, as far as the 16-hour days, totally understand that.
It's not safe. Your judgment is altered to work 16 hours.
Mm-hmm.
your lack of response time, your lack of just being here fully here mentally.
And my question is too.
The 12-hour shift is bullshit.
Yeah, that it's so. I think because when most law enforcement across the nation,
It's 12 hours.
it's 12. It doesn't matter your corrections or patrol or whatever. There's very very few agencies or roles that are 8-hour shifts.
Now, I would
hours.
love to see more unions on the state level.
Yes, I agree. There needs to be other unions, not just the state level, locally. You know, there needs to be more unions, definitely across, because that's the problem. You don't have this voice for the unspoken heroes of law enforcement, the hidden ones, or even the patrol guys. Where's our voice as far as our treatment? And they wonder why there's staffing issues across the nation. Well, the thing is we don't have anybody standing up for us. And as soon as we go to our bosses, administration, whatever, what have you, piss off. Here's some money for your time. Here's like a 1% raise if you're lucky. Piss off. Don't bother us. But there's no repercussions, and nothing truly ever gets solved. It's like they don't want to listen to us.
Yeah.
Now, we are not advocating. I want to put this disclaimer in there. We are not advocating for any kind of massive striking or anything like that. We're advocating if you are watching this video, if you see this video and you want to get better treatment, you want to start a union up. We're not advocating for any particular union. We're not a spokesperson for any one singular union. If you feel like that your rights though or your treatment needs to be better, you need to go the right way with whatever your department policies and procedures are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think strikes are. I mean, strikes aren't good for anybody. Period.
Right.
Because it puts you out of work without pay. I mean, I think pretty sure certain unions will, like, if it's approved through the union,
they will.
They'll pay you for a certain amount of time.
Right, but this one's clearly not.
Yeah, so I mean, all these guys are out without pay, obviously.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so they have sick time built up.
I mean, it could. No, I mean, I'm sure it can be, what's the word that I'm looking for?
An excuse?
Yeah. I mean,
well, you've heard of the blue flu. Now they're getting ready to have a serious case of the gray flu.
Yeah. One thing I don't quite understand is, I've seen some of these videos of live there, like at the strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of confused why they're all holding up blue lines. And
maybe they're up there. They see themselves as a blue line unless it's a gray line.
Yeah, I mean, and guys up there that are, sitting on the side of the road in that weather,
mm-hmm.
standing for what you believe in, I got your back.
Yeah, I do as well. We definitely do here at Correctional Commentary.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a one-sided. We don't know the extent of what's going on inside.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've worked in some bad places that is this like similar on staffing. Yeah. And as far as the 12-hour shifts, if you're worried about 12-hour shifts and 16-hour shifts, maybe you should pick a different profession.
If that is what your biggest concern is with all of this, that's what we want to clarify. If that is the sole purpose of you striking during this, or period, you just might want to find a different profession.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know, because if you're already striking, I want to know what's making it unsafe in the prisons.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I haven't heard. Yeah. Is anybody you're going on strike saying, hey, we have unsafe conditions. What's the unsafe conditions?
Yeah.
Is it assault on staff?
Is it short staff in general?
Is it like, what is it?
Yeah.
Because I've watched a lot of videos, I've read a lot of stuff. I haven't seen a clear indication of all it is dangerous work environment and short staffing
Yeah.
and working excessive hours. And, in my 10 or so years of experience, that's always been there.
Yeah, I've never seen it not be either one,
And
any of those, unfortunately.
in the facility that I'm at now, a lot of the people that are working 16-hour shifts, they're doing it voluntarily to
make that money.
Well, not only
make that bag.
not only that, I don't know about other people, but me, I take great pride in being a correctional officer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and part of taking great pride is doing what has to be done.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of officers in the facility that we're at right now where they're working 16-hour shifts a day voluntarily. They're coming in early.
Yeah.
They're pulling the hours. They're going in on their off days just because they don't want their brothers and sisters that are working behind the walls when they're off to be unsafe.
Yeah, I get that.
So my question to all you guys, and please clarify this, get on here what we're doing. Clarify it. What's happening? What are you doing to help fix the situation?
Yeah, and and really tag into that with what Robbie just said. Anybody out there that is watching this that is part of the New York State strike or prison system or whatever, leave us a comment. Help clarify this with us. If you don't want to leave a public comment, that's cool. Shoot us an email at correctionalcommentary@gmail.com.
We would love to get somebody on with us as soon as possible.
And we would also love to have a representative from the New York Police and Correctional Officers Benevolent Association. We would love just to hear that as well. Get you guys on here and really get the word out about the whole point of this and what the views on each side of it are. I think would be a great idea.
Yeah, because I think there's on the bright side, we're getting a lot of public traction with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a huge downside is we don't have enough information.
Yep, and that's one of the reasons what we want to do. We want to get them more information out there.
Right now, are these inmates, granted, I have a moral dilemma with the whole inmate situation I'm a firm believer in inmates have a lot of rights, not just as an inmate, but also just being people.
Well, and I'll tell you this, JD DeLay, a fellow YouTuber out there, I've mentioned him before, and JD DeLay, I hope you see this video. We would love to, again, have you on as a guest at one point in time. He's actually when I was actually found out about the strike that's been going on up there, watching one of his videos. He was an inmate for a long time. He's not an inmate anymore. He got his life on track, and now he helps people, which, again, I think that's awesome. But he's been able to see this from an interesting perspective as well, because he's, I was an inmate. I was on that side. But I also understand now as basically as a reformed person, I understand what the correctional officers, why they're doing what they're doing, but I also don't understand as well, because, again, I've been on the other side. So, again, JD DeLay, if you happen to see this, we'd love to get you on and have an episode with you. So,
yeah, it's just I have a lot of moral situations with it, of where as a correctional professional, it's we got to put ourselves first before we put anybody else first.
We are called to be selfless in service.
Yourself and your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So, you ask any correctional officer or anybody that's been in law enforcement, period, are you worried about an inmate or are you worried about your fellow officer?
Yeah. Well, I think at this point, we're just going to go ahead and start wrapping it up for the day, Robbie. We've been going at this for a while, and again, if anybody that watched this, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment if if you happen to see us elsewhere, we are also on TikTok, Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. So you can always get your daily dose of correctional commentary and news of the shift.
So, till next time, guys, and everybody up in New York, keep holding the line.
Hold on, guys, and we're praying for you.
Yep.
All right. See y'all next shift.